talks of this uh, scam, the ZEP being renewed, and I'm not happy about that. That's the reason why I'll be the first person on the 24th protesting. I will do whatever it takes within my power to make sure that our government does not disrespect us like this. Where else in the world, if you look at the Zimbabweans themselves in Zimbabwe, they don't allow foreigners to work in those industry. Those industry are reserved for people, for the entry level people. But for some reasons, here in South Africa, we're supposed to accept it. For what? What have we done to ANC to deserve this treatment? And before, I'm getting tired. There are a lot of people who call me and send me DMs all the time, telling me that Zuma was good and all those things. Guys, please spare me all this hogwash. If he was good, I will know that he would have done something about it. He did nothing. As far as am concerned, Thabo Mbeki, Jacob Zuma, Ramaphosa, they are all the same. They are not worried about unemployment in this country. They are not for South Africans. They are for foreigners. Yesterday, we had this guy called P.S. Pigo, and his submission, it was along the lines of, I mean, we must allow free flow, and that shows the level of maturity in advocating immigration issues. And guess what? The guy called P.S. Pigo, I went and did my research. You know who's funding him? Rockefeller Brothers, BP, Chevron, Charles Koch, Carnegie Corporation of New York. So he was saying all those things yesterday to please his funders. Who you can't tell me. I won't believe anything that comes from somebody who is funded by BP and Chevron. We know a lot of wars that were fought because of oil, and those multinationals, we all know how corrupt they are. And he has the audacity to tell the South Africans that we must just accept it, and we can't do anything about it. No, I'm sorry, I'm not going to accept that. So that submission from him, it's dismissed completely, because it's funded by the people, the global, the multinationals who want to make sure that the poor people remain poor. And we had the other lady as well called Priscilla. Guys, I believe we already have one of the guys' main speakers. So let me see if I see him, then I can give him the mic right away, because he may have other things to do. Let me get my co-host, maybe. Anybody sees Gayton, or Gayton, please raise your hand so I can accept it and give you the mic so you can continue. Kwena? Kwena, you are on mute. Do you see Gayton anyway? Kwena, oh, okay. I see him now. We have a guest in Gayton Mackenzie. Gayton Mackenzie is the leader of Patriotic Alliance. Patriotic Alliance is one of the parties that we, as Put South Africa First, we supported during the LEG 2021. So let's give him the mic so he can say a word or two. Gayton, good evening.
How are you?
And the mic is yours.
Good evening. Good evening. How are you? Let me say that word or two that you are speaking about. I think firstly, let me thank the Put South Africa First Patriots for those ones that voted for us, or voted for parties like ATM, including Action SA, parties that speak to this matter. I want to thank you. Let me start there by thanking you. But I can say to you that we are not there yet. In order to do what we intended to do, or what we wanted to do in South Africa, you gotta have you gotta get an outright majority, for a lack of a better word. But what I want to speak about is, the problem of I see everybody speaks about illegal foreigners, so I want to share a small story with you guys that goes past the illegal foreigner issue. 4 years ago, I started a business in China, and I started a business at the same time in Dubai. And everything went well. In China, I had to jump through 1,000 hoops with all the lawyers and everybody involved. And after what seemed like an eternity, we eventually were granted permission to commence with our business, only to be told there's just one little thing we need to change. And that little thing that we needed to change was that the Chinese government said to me that the area that we wanted, the street where we wanted to do our business, that street is reserved only for Chinese people. Upon inquiring as to why, they said because it's a high income area. A high income area, there's a lot of feet, a lot of people come there, and they reserve that only for their people. The reason, and the same happened with us in Dubai, where they said to us, no, here you can't open a business. You just can't. And I'm mentioning those two to start by telling us that our problem is deeper than just the illegal foreign issue. Our problem is goes as deep as foreigners that are legally here, because there's laws in this country, and the laws are very clear that for people to be on, if you come into South Africa and with a teacher's degree and you are a teacher in South Africa, which is not a scarce skill, and there are South African teachers that are sitting at home, that's also a problem. If you come here without saying how much you're going to invest, how many people you're going to give jobs to, that's a problem. So I see a lot of people say, no, we're not talking about we're only speaking about undocumented or illegal foreigners. No, 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 no. This thing is bigger than just illegal foreigners. I can't just walk into America today and then tomorrow I start a business there, or I just apply for a job. I mean, they are very specific. They are very clear to say that, no, you got to have this, you got to have that. So I think we need to stop. I think we're limiting ourselves. And that's one of my three messages here today. The first one being, we're limiting ourselves in this war to, I call it war because this is war. I have been, for a year and a half, I've been on the ground. I mean, obviously our results speak of that, but we've been on the ground speaking to people, and I'm horrified. I'm even more a patriot than I've ever been against illegal and undocumented foreigners, because what I've seen on, I allow me to tell you that the oxygen issue. I went in El Rado Park, which is our core constituency. We helped a lot of people with oxygen and Reiche Park. And sometimes when you provide oxygen, you go and get the oxygen companies, and then they say, no, oxygen is not going to help. This particular person needs hospitalization. And you rock up at the hospital, and they say to you, there are no beds. And obviously, a guy like myself, I would like to use my influence. I would then try to use my influence and say, hey, man, please make a plan, hoping they will maybe change their minds if they see a guy like me. And then the person will say that knows you there, like, listen, Gayton, all the beds are full. And I can tell you, then the nurses will gossip to us and say, and 60% of these beds are like Zimbabweans. And I'm thinking that I've never left this country without medical assurance. Why are these people in government hospitals? So yeah, that is my first of 3 points, is to say to you, don't limit your fight only to illegal foreigners. Because once you allow a person to come here, then if they can work in government, as a teaching job, they can now work in government, and they can now apply in home affairs. Hence, you have so many illegal foreigners occupying positions that, and the argument will then be, yeah, but they are here legally. Yes, they are here legally, but what is the law saying regarding that? And the second issue I want to speak about is, guys, I think we must move past just protest. I think we need to move past protest. For one, I will help. I will speak to people like Gwen and them, and ask how I can help. Speak to King Josh and them. He's tried to make contact with me. I will make contact with him, because we need to move Because if you protest, that's the best thing you can do for government sometimes, because they know it's a harmless thing. We come there, we wave placards. I mean, not one of us on this space can tell me about what was the past 5 protesters they can remember. If you ask me to say, give me in any order the last 5 reasons why people protested, we'll probably remember the Gareth Cliff issue where people were angry, but I mean, it's forgettable. We need to put pressure, and that pressure means we need to do what AfriForum is doing. And it's I hate to use that example. I use it begrudgingly, but it's the best example I want to use here tonight. Is to say that AfriForum has, I mean, there's so many things. I remember one of the things was the BE legislation when it comes to tourism. I think there was something government wanted to pass, and these people got the lawyers. These people got the pressure. So I think if we can get, I wouldn't be able to be intimately involved in leading this because of being busy with our political party, but there are such capable people. I mean, I listen to Mangalani speaking and everybody else that can start that. So I would encourage you to say, let's get to a, and I use it begrudgingly, to an AfriForum spot where we tell the government, like for instance, this issue will not do. We will put pressure on. What I can tell you is that we have gained a lot of power with this election, and I'm not going to, and our party is not going to be quiet. We're going to put pressure from that side, but we just didn't gain enough to really say it's our way or the highway. So that's the second thing I want to say, that let's move away from the protest. From the protest side only. I'm not saying we shouldn't protest at all, but I'm saying let it be accompanied. You know, you never see white people marching, but white people get things right. And let's be honest about it. You just never see white people saying the first and the last time I saw them really marching was Zuma, like Zuma should go or what that people. But let us get to that stage. And I think thirdly, sometimes I always say to people, I said, let's immediately after COVID, let's test out. You see, and I'm now speaking as a politician. Politicians are scared of numbers. That's not theirs. I'm going to repeat it. Politicians are scared of numbers. They don't belong to them. Uh, uh, we need to have one proper march. Not everybody doing the thing in silos, and that's what I see with the movement. I think we need to get together where we say, all right, on this day we're getting together the leaders first, and then we say, all right, let's book out a hall in Johannesburg. I will carry that cost, and we say, come, let's get together. We have a lunch, all of us. We just get together, and from there we go back to the constituencies. Once you can have a march in this country that's got a minimum of 20,000 people, I'm telling you, it's hard to ignore anybody that can mobilize 20,000 people. So that's what I want to say to you today. I'm not here to come and tell you about what illegal foreigners are doing in the country and stuff like that. I mean, it has never happened. I'm well traveled, and it has never happened. The likes of Julius Malema and them that speaks about open borders and stuff like that. They conflicted, man. When you're conflicted and you have dealings with these people, you can't just ask for them to leave tomorrow. If so, I'm saying to us that's here, that's not conflicted, that cares about South Africans, that let us arrange one march, a march that they cannot ignore. But while that march is on, let us get the group of lawyers together. Let us get, amongst us, I think there's also lawyers here. And let us get a lot of people together and say, all right, listen, let's get a group of lawyers. We challenge things, and then we put the legal pressure on. We put the street pressure on. We put the protest pressure on, and we put the pressure on social media. Because lastly, you should never uh, fall into the trap of listening to them when they say you are xenophobic, and only a stupid will say you're xenophobic. In fact, I'm going to stick my neck out tonight and say to you that you are the reason. You are you are actually doing what? You are preventing, by speaking about it, you are preventing a war. Because I'm saying to you today that not not the people on this spaces, but there's so many people that we have that say to us, "Hey, Ntate Mackenzie, ke a o kopa, ha ba tsamaye," with deep emotion, let them go. Please, please, please. I mean, in Zimbabwe, they are very clear. They don't want illegal foreigners. I can tell you, the guys in Katlehong, the PA guys there, together with some other guys, successfully said there will be no foreign-owned shops in our area. And you can also, in conclusion, find heart with the fact that we control El Rado Park, and we are about to embark on a campaign to make sure that we've written letters to the health department. We've written letters. We are following the law, because what they also want you to do, they want you to break the law. So always stay within the law. There's power staying within the law. So what we are doing is, we've seen this in no time. I think by next year, January, there will not be an illegal foreigner working in El Rado Park or Rege Park or Tokoza or Eden Park, or all the places that we have, actually all the places that we have direct control. So I want to end by saying that, once again, my coming here tonight was just also a thank you for 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 voting for our party. And the problem that you are faced with is, and I think it's the last thing I'm going to say, and then maybe if there's anybody with a question, I still have another 10 minutes or so I can answer the questions. I want to end up by telling you that I want you to know that the people behind, I'm not even excusing illegal foreigners, not for a second, but the people that's behind this thing, it is disastrous for illegal foreigners to be deported, because then the property market will fall. Now, who owns the property market? Like these guys, I mean, there's a property boom because the Nigerians, the Congolese that are here, they stay in Sandton. They shop in Sandton. So the owners of those shops, the owners of the property, the cars these guys buy. I mean, if you go and see the cars they buy. So they've stimulated a certain. So it's a big loss for the white rich community. They have no problem with them, because they don't, hiring a foreigner, you don't need to pay tax, you don't need to deal with unions, you don't need to deal with, but all of that. But I'm saying to you that the war here should be also against businesses, white-owned businesses that will lose millions in rental income, that will lose. Buildings will stand empty where this guys stay. I mean, you drive up in Ravonia, all those new buildings they built was for illegal foreigners. So they've not recouped the investment. So they would not let them go. So I just want to say, I'm a friend of yours. I am unapologetically with you. I will not hide. I don't care. Uh, I will never change my language. I will speak. I've been attacked, but we're going to be clear. By 2024, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to vote for our political party. Even if you organize yourself into a proper political party, because there's power in politics. And if you want to see the power in politics, just check the next 6 months what's going to happen in this country with the seats that we've won. But I want to thank you for inviting me. And if there's any question, I still have another 7 minutes I can stay. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Gayton. And it's reassuring to hear from you. And the point that I like, and this is what I've said to many people for a whole lot of time. I don't know, for as long as I can remember, that the spaza shops that we see in every municipality, that's the competence of local government. It's an issue of them enforcing their bylaws. So I'm glad that El Dorado Park will become that example that the entire South Africa will take as a template. That is very reassuring to hear. And And we will hold you to that, Gaten. You
Please,
trust us because
please
we
do.
are. And if and and if you deliver, trust us as well. We will come to your place and show the entire South Africa that it can be done. Gaten has done it, and there's no reason why all these other politicians, unless they are getting money in brown envelopes, there's no reason why they should not follow suit. Let me not take time and give mic to uh, Kwena. Kwena, do you want to say something to Gaten before we ask
No,
our
I would
participants?
rather not say anything, just to say thank you for accepting the invite. We look forward to engaging more with you and even understanding better the Patriotic Alliance as a party in general. And indeed, we will hold you accountable. Thank you for honoring to actually come to our space.
Thank you very much.
Much appreciated. Kwena, we have someone who represents, who wants to say something. I'm sure he's here to represent Zimbabweans. So I can warn him up front. It's an advocate, Advocate Kova. We will really tear him to pieces if he disrespect us South Africans like what has happened last night. So, Advocate Kova, the floor is yours. Take the mic, please.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Before I make my submission, I just have a few questions for Great Tom. My first question to him is he just alluded that to the fact that the crisis or the problem of immigration maybe have or could be propelled by capitalist society. So I want to ask him, do we think maybe our anger is misplaced? You are realizing that the white capitalist society is propelling immigration, illegal immigration, occupants of jobs, vis-a-vis South Africans. Do you think the anger may be misplaced?
All right, let me. You see, that's part of the problem. That's not the problem in its entirety. You see, the problem that the mistake that all of you make is that you confuse individuals or human beings with country duty. You know, human beings got a conscience, human beings got empathy. Countries have none of that. I've seen in war countries, countries where there's war, and then the Americans will come and take only Americans. You know, you saw the other day, it was in Afghanistan, where people were on planes and they were trying and crying to pilots, but they were left behind. Now the problem that you have, you want to treat South Africa as a human being. This is not a human being. This is a country, and a country's primary and sole responsibility and first responsibility is towards its citizens. The issue of, to answer your question, the issue of white capital being involved, yeah, that's there. That's there. But a crime is still committed by anybody that's here. Show me illegal foreigner that is in this country and show me there's war in the country. I will fight for that illegal foreigner. There's no war in Zimbabwe. We are going there to Vic Falls. We are going to whitewater rafting. We are doing those things. So let us not confuse the issue. These are two different points. Yes, they do. They are part of the problem, but they are not the problem in its entirety. Thank you.
Just a follow-up question. With understanding that they employ the majority of the illegal immigrants, so to speak, can we then not try to answer the question what is being done to these companies that employ illegal immigrants instead of throwing fire at individuals like you're saying, human that are probably somewhat dehumanized by certain individuals as well, not taking out of context that we respect that South Africans are citizens of South Africa, but do you think that the persons or companies that employ illegal immigrants should be put to account instead of taking it to an individual point of view? or using it as a nationalistic point of view. Do you think we could be in a position to do that?
All right, just quickly. No, I don't want you to say using it in a nationalistic way. This is a national issue, so we got no other way to use it. But understand that illegal foreigners being employed in South Africa is but I think 20% of the problem. We have Nigerians that has hijacked buildings here. We have Nigerians that has taken over Sunnyside. We have Somalians that come here that make fake products. So you're talking about 20% of the problem. There are serious problems. I'll tell you what happened a year now, 2 years ago. During COVID, it was during COVID. What the Somalians did, they bought up all the cake flour from straight from the top 5 food companies. There was no cake flour in South Africa. They bought all the cake flour. And you know what they did? And that was in November. And then they stocked it. And they sold it for double the price to South Africans. Because no South African had the buying power to pay 200 million for all the cake flour in the country, or 300 million. So what I'm saying to you is that the issue that you're talking about, workers and that's just part of the problem. We have a serious problem of people hijacking buildings, people doing cyber fraud in South Africa. The other day they were arrested there. The head office was in Cape Town. We have Serbians that comes here and shoot each other in the east there. We have Somalians that has now left the sea where they were known as pirates. They've realized, no, to hell with the sea. Let's come to South Africa. Here, you don't need the sea. You can just take people in the streets of Sandton. Do you know how many rich people get? And I can tell you, my brother, do you know how many rich people get hijacked and kidnapped? Those are not South African crimes. Kidnapping has never been a problem in this country. Now kidnapping is a problem in this country, and very wealthy guys don't want to say that they've paid the ransom. So I'm saying to you that illegal foreigners, as an ex-criminal, as a guy that has an intimate understanding of crime, I know the type of crimes that has been committed by South Africans. We now have crimes here that even you and me, my brother, you gotta admit, like this thing of you know, in the last 6 months, 21 Somalians killed each other here on our streets. I mean, really. And I think the one that I was mentioning on television today is that 80% of people in prison has what you call, they are there because their fingerprints were found on the scene, or some DNA or anything, a hair strand or anything. And I can tell you that's 80% of prisoners. You speak to a guy in jail and it always comes to the fact that, why are you here? How did they catch you? And we always ask that question, how did they catch you? And because it's entertaining to hear the story. And the person will tell us the story, and all the stories like, hey, and they found my fingerprints. They found a gun with my fingerprint. No, they said they found my hair there. Now, I'm saying to you, in South Africa, these people are undocumented. So, which means that there's 15 million people in this country that you cannot catch the way you've catch 80% of prisoners in jail. That is a problem. What is so difficult? You know, what is so... We see people on Twitter being very loud, criticizing South Africans, criticizing... they criticize our government here. They criticize the Put South Africa First activists. They criticize... They fight even with the police. But you go to the countries, they behave like Sunday school children there, or nuns. They wouldn't dare. I mean, they go there, they would never fight with the police. Then they come here, they want to... I got one prayer, my brother. If the day I can become National Police Commissioner here, or we can take enough power here, we will not play. We will not play. We will deal with this situation. I feel a bit...
Thank you very much. My last question to you. I do understand.
I got 2 minutes.
I do understand that immigration and illegal immigration is a problem. Not could, but is a problem to some extent. But can we also say that the art of doing business in South Africa for corporations could be the problem? And as a lawmaker, if you could be one, how do you think would be able to deal with that vis-a-vis immigration?
I don't understand your question. What do you mean doing business in South Africa? That's not a topic. I mean, we're talking here about illegal. Let's not digress. I'm saying to you that there's a problem with businesses hiring the people. And I think it was Mangalisho that mentioned there are bylaws, which was 100% correct. The issue here, my brother, is I got one question for you. Unfortunately, I only have 1 minute left. I've got a question for you. Do you think that 10 million South Africans can move to Zimbabwe without papers? That's my question to you. Do you think that's possible? Or to Nigeria?
I will confirm that they are South Africans, not in a big number, but they are
not
South Africans in Zimbabwe that are illegal. I will confirm that are illegal. They are Zambians that are illegal. There are various other nationalities that are illegal that are in Zimbabwe, not in big numbers, but they are there. So the question of migration is a holistic approach, and it's intrinsic because it's everywhere within the region. So that's to answer your question. I know you've got a minute left. My question to you still remains. Are you accepting that besides the problem of immigration?
Sorry. Hang on,
No.
Kobe. We won't allow you to ask more. You've had enough of questions, and now you are just going around and around and around, and you are Gayton asked you a question, and you said there are few questions. But Gayton, we will invite you. But hope to really coordinate the out because we're really tired of being this country, and we're going for that. We have got economics on our side, we have got law on our side, and socially as well. We are not at a position where we can accommodate foreigners. Enough is enough. Thanks a lot, Gayton.
No, I think he said that he's going somewhere. He's on the plane, so he won't be here unless if he gets wherever that he's going and then he finds us continue. He said that he might join later on.
Okay. Can I just make a small submission?
No, you didn't answer Gayton's question. Would your country allow 10 million undocumented South Africans? Don't come here with holistic answers. Those kind of things, they don't work here. Maybe in the other spaces where they allow it, but in this space, you answer, and which means you must answer. Actually, do not even try to play diplomatic, whatever. Answer straight. Would you allow 10 million undocumented South Africans in Zimbabwe? If you can't answer that, then there's no need for you to actually even make submission.
I'll answer that without contradiction, and I would say yes. Without any contradiction, I would say yes. I don't think it would be a problem. It has never been a problem. And I believe as much as we are citizens of different nationalities and different countries, we enriching each other in various forms. Where you've got South Africans that enter into Zimbabwe, they learn different things, and Zimbabweans learn different things as well. And if it's business wise, we all can also make money. We also can do a lot of things together. It's just the same thing with Zambia. I'm sure if the question was to ask, can Zimbabwe allow 10 million Zambians to be in Zimbabwe? Definitely not. Why not? We are brothers, we're sisters at the end of the day, and integration actually helps enrich our societies with different cultures, different business ideas, ethos.
Yeah, no, thank you. Integration, if it's not eating your own. No, when the integration must happen, it must not eat your own. If it's eating your own, it's no longer integration, which means the other group is paying the highest price. So unfortunately, the situation in South Africa today, we are paying the highest prices, and you want to tell us about being brothers and sisters, we draw us back to wait. No. Wait, you're going to draw us back to the history of Africa. Those things, we know them. Trust me, I'm actually well read about this history of Africa, South Africa, but I will not allow that.
Wait.
No. You are going to wait. Mangalani, can you please remove this guy? Thank you. Bye. Enjoy your evening.
Kwena, wait, Kwena. I need to get something from Advocate Koba before he disappears. Advocate Koba, you know, I can understand you saying things from an uninformed position, but I really don't appreciate when you come on space and basically lie, because you know very well that you have deported a lot of Malawians from Zimbabwe. So now you come in here and tell us that you will allow that when your country is deporting them all the time. Tell me I'm lying, Advocate Koba. Tell me that's not true. You don't deport Malawians.
Thank you. I'll tell you this. Just about a month ago, I was approached by 5 Zambians that had overstayed in Zimbabwe because of COVID-19 and they needed assistance to get their papers sorted out. I gladly did that, and now they're very much legal in Zimbabwe, working, some of them even
You
on
said
businesses, small businesses. So,
no.
to answer your question,
You
I
forgot
was
what you
not
said.
lying.
You said they missed
I
because
was
of COVID. So Zimbabweans are not here because of COVID. They were here before COVID. I asked you a question and I'm asking you again. Have you not deported Malawians in numbers?
Statistically, I don't think we've deported a lot. I will check records and I will probably send you a DM. But I would say this: I think if this dialogue is going to be meaningful and productive, we need to be able to speak to each other. And I accept that there is a crisis. I've not said there's no crisis. I've accepted that. But for sustainable solutions and conflict resolution and conflict transformation, we need to be able to talk to each other. I've not said the march is not. I think I'm like it's
Okay,
fine
so
because it's
fine.
the right of
So
people
you
to do
ask.
that. But
So
what I'm
Mr.
saying is,
Advocate Koba, Advocate Koba, you accept that you have deported Malawians, but you came in here, you just don't have numbers. That you accept. Can I ask you, did Zimbabwe ever had refugee camps?
Zimbabwe actually has refugee camps, and they have been there. I think people even from Somalia, from other parts of the world. There is actually, just like South Africa is. It's a diplomatic thing that transpires globally, and it's something that has been going on for the longest of time. I think when we're talking about South Africa, SA immigration problems, we need to have a holistic approach to this. We need to identify what our root cause is so that when we understand our root cause,
No,
we are
no, no,
able
no,
to
no,
deal
no, no,
with the
no, 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 no,
situation.
no, 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 no. Hang fire, hang fire. You don't identify the root cause in Zimbabwe and you expect South Africa to fix it. Each country fix their own problem. South Africa, we
The
are
root
a
cause is not
sovereign
in
country.
Zimbabwe. The root cause is not in
The root
Zimbabwe.
cause is on this side. So people are crossing the crocodile-infested Limpopo because of the root cause on this side. They are risking their own life because of the problem on this side. Come on, Minister or Advocate. Do you really expect us to believe that nonsense? Do you really expect people to cross the river that is extremely dangerous, and they're crossing the river because there's a problem on the other side of the river? Please don't take us for fools. You know that's not true.
I think, you know, the
Aluna
problem with Zimbabweans that is there, even earlier when we were having Mr. Teu's space, the South Africans were saying the same thing as me. You guys, you want to give us solutions to our problems and actually conclude what are the problems within South Africa. You're not willing to listen to us, to what we are saying, to say, no, this is our problem. We're having this problem of weaponizing intellectualism versus lived experiences with you, because all of you, for some weird reason, you are experts on what is happening in South Africa. You are experts to say, no, this is the problem with your government. Oh no, this is because of you have Private Godan who is not South African. Oh, you have white monopoly capital. Don't you guys have the same problems that you should be worrying about? And you don't even hear us, you know what, overtaking to say, no, there's Chinese problem in Zimbabwe. Oh, you are doing this and that and that. But you guys want to come to engage us already with this mentality of saying that, no, this is your problem and you must sort it out. Don't tell us about us that are here. You are part of our problems, because if you have camps in Zimbabwe, we don't have camps in South Africa. We want camps. But it's so wrong for us to want cabs. And it's so wrong for us to even say, no, we want to reserve certain sectors of our economy for strictly South Africans. But Munangonga just did that. You don't hold space to complain about such things. You don't even discourage your government to act otherwise. But you are here alliterating the same thing and saying, no, you guys know this, that. No, we don't want that. What we want you to rather be doing for starters is to wait. I'm just saying, and you're going to wait. For starters, one, you guys are going to listen to us on what we are saying it is the problem. You are not going to give us diagnosis to our problems. That one will never allow you to do that because you are having the same problems in your country, but you don't see South Africans being experts. Westpad, I'm dealing with you now on Twitter space. When I go open my TV, there's another Zimbabwean on TV who's telling me of the problems in South Africa, who's apparently a political science student, as if South Africa does not produce those kind of things. But we keep on having this. No. So you guys are you're just here to frustrate us and even derail our conversation. We want to continue with the program of action. We are having a match. I even highlighted that yesterday. And we want to talk about those things. I want South Africans to say the things that they were not given the opportunity to be saying yesterday by Hopewell. I want them to be given the space today, actually. So you are even taking almost 45 minutes, actually, since we've given you time since when Clayton was here. Clayton is even gone. You are still having a dialogue with us. South Africans want to take over the space. Yesterday, they were denied to speak on the Zimbabwean space. So today, I'm allowing them to actually say, no, this is what. This is yesterday's conversation. This one didn't sit well with us. So I want to address those things. I will not address you the whole night. No, that one I refuse to be part of it.
Can I say my last submission and then I yield and then I go to the listeners?
No, allow Alum to speak after you will speak after Alum.
Yeah, no, I actually had a question, so it's actually convenient that I asked my question to Honorable Advocate Corbett before, and then he can address it when he responds. I just got two questions for you, sir. The one is that on your on your bio, it says a lot of things, but it says at the bottom, patriotic citizen, and then it's got a Zimbabwean flag next to those two words, patriotic citizen. I just want to ask you, what does that mean? What do you mean when you say you are a patriotic citizen, a patriotic Zimbabwean? And then the second question is that when you were asked the question about if you would allow 10 million South Africans undocumented into Zimbabwe, you said yes. And when you elaborated, you said the reason is that when people mix, they enrich each other and they get to learn. My question with you is that if those people are undocumented, meaning that you don't know who those people are, what confidence are you, or what gives you the confidence that they will enrich Zimbabwe, not knowing who those people are in the first place? Because immigration and immigration control is designed for you to check who comes into the country so that you can assess if they will enrich the country or not. But if they are undocumented, what gives you the certainty that they will enrich Zimbabwe?
Thank you. I'll ask you a question, then I'll answer you. Do you think every undocumented citizen of any nationality is there to do harm to the nation or to be productive?
Well, to answer your question, sir, I don't know, and that is exactly if you don't know who is coming to the country and what their intentions are, how can you be comfortable with allowing 10 million people?
I'll tell you
saying that because you know they will enrich the country. How if you don't know them?
I'll tell you this. I won't put probability to it, but I want you to understand this. Not every legal immigrant in a nation is doing things that enrich the nation. Some of them are thugs, some of them are thieves, some of them do things that literally do not stand with the constitution of that particular country, right? And then you have some illegal immigrants that uphold the constitution simply because maybe they respect the constitution, one, or they're afraid that if they do anything that is against the law, if they're caught, they'll be arrested. And because they're not documented, they will probably rot in jail without even any of their relatives knowing about them or what happened to them. I'm not talking about South Africa alone. I'm just saying in a holistic approach. So
I'd
when I
submit,
say
sir, that
we would
that's
accept,
that's a contradictory statement, because if you are an illegal immigrant, you are committing a crime. So you can't be an illegal immigrant and respect the Constitution at the same time. That's impossible.
that then is subject to law and your understanding of the Constitution, and subject to what kind of, because there is breach to one does not mean breach to all of them. So you have to have an understanding of the Constitution itself, and you
So
also
you're
need to
saying that
understand with
it's possible
sometimes.
for a person to be an illegal immigrant, but at the same time respect the laws of the country he is an illegal immigrant in. How is that possible? You are an illegal immigrant, but at the same time you are there to respect the laws of that country and the same constitution. I'm baffled as to how that concept really works. But I don't
It
want to
then
hog the
goes,
space. I
then
will climb
again.
down.
No,
Okay.
alumni, I'm just worried here because I think the Honorable Koba is just really wasting our time. We have lost 20 South Africans at the hands of 4 Zimbabwean in the past 10 months alone. We've lost 10 South Africans at the hands of illegal 4 Zimbabweans. And by the way, why do we know that? Because these are high profile cases. There are gazillions of cases that are not high profile, I can tell you now. Ask any policeman in Alexander. Ask any policeman in Tembi. Ask any policeman in Soshanguve, Mabopani. They will tell you the damage that is done by foreigners. They kill by these foreigners. How difficult it is. You can just kill 11 women in Limpopo. He was something else. And that's an illegal features. No, we will not. The fact that our government probably has deals with you, that's for you and our government. And we right now what we are doing is we want to deal with our government. We want to make sure that this country is rid of foreign nationals, illegal foreign nationals. We want, just like Zimbabwe. By the way, I've traveled in Africa. Every time when you land at the airport, they will ask you for passport, and they make sure that you tell them, I will be here for 2 weeks. And guess what? In 2 weeks, by an hour, you are heading to jail. And it's such a big issue. So now you're expecting us to accept this. No, we are not going to accept it. We are not going to accept that unemployment in Zimbabwe is around about 6%. Unemployment here is 50% because Zimbabweans have taken all those entry-level jobs. We are not going to do that. It's about time that you go back and pass the message to Mnangagwa that, you know what, time is up. South Africans won't be accepting this anymore. You have probably cut deals with the government for gold or minerals, but we were not there and we don't want to be part of it, and don't involve us. Ours, we want to make sure that we fight for this country. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Sorry about that, Advocate Koba. I think it was me. Don't you want to take the mic again if you can hear me? Okay, it's fine. Kwena, do we have other speakers? I'm not seeing other speakers right now. Let me know if you see other
There is
speakers.
African Renaissance, actually.
So take him or her.
African Renaissance, you can take the floor, I think. So we can start with the Put South Africa First space, actually.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for this opportunity. Yes, yesterday we were not given sufficient time to ventilate issues from the South African side. But maybe before I get into the details, there is something that I need to sensitize with you, especially as the Put South Africa First movement. I'm of the view that this movement was started not necessarily to be against Zimbabweans. This movement, I believe that it was started to engage the South African government, not to be apathetic to the needs of South Africans. I don't like how it seems like you are being derailed, because now it seems like it's Put South Africa First against the Zimbabweans. This issue has got nothing to do with Zimbabweans. It's an internal issue between South Africans and their government. And I believe that you started this movement because you feel betrayed by our government, which is an ANC-led government. The Zimbabwean issue is something that is in the periphery. To me, is not a central issue, because in South Africa, we don't only have Zimbabweans as foreign nationals. We've got so many. I think we've got many foreign nationals in South Africa. So I'm amazed that Zimbabweans somewhat have made themselves to be a target of the movement, which I don't believe that is the case. Now, another thing that I need to put across is that we as South Africans are not xenophobic. We are not against foreign nationals. We've coexisted with them for ages. But what we are uncomfortable with now is that our government, and specifically certain leaders in our government, have entered into what I would call scrupulous deals with foreign nationals with shady background. And that is why whenever the issue of foreign nationals, especially illegal ones, is being raised, the first and the people that dismiss us in South Africa are first the corrupt government officials, the slay queens. I need to mention that because a girlfriend of a drug dealer would not necessarily support a community when it raises up against that drug dealer. Now, I want to give you, I think yesterday on that Zimbabwean space, I gave an example when I worked for a blue chip company. I've got so many examples that are hair-raising. I mentioned to you about almost 6,000 people that did not have papers. In 2 years, they were able to get identity documents, and they were owning tuck shops and supermarkets and so forth. I want to give an example of something that shocked me. And those that I mentioned yesterday, it was not Zimbabweans. These are some Somali-owned tuck shops and general dealers. But I want to give an example of the time when I was with this blue chip company. I'm in my office. A Chinese guy walks into my office. He wants to do business with us. I'm in this blue chip company. I may mention it. It's a Coca-Cola. He had opened a very small shop in town, and he wanted a very small fridge. I remember he actually wanted a bigger one. I said, but you are still, this is an entry level. You are still starting. You need a smaller one. I gave the guy a small fridge. He started a very small outlet. Imagine in 2 years' time, the very guy that walked into my office, that I was of the view that he did not qualify for a bigger fridge, he qualified for a smaller fridge. Within 2 to 3 years, he was now spending almost 15 million a month with the company. Guys, tell me, you can never, there is no MBA that can make you grow a small shop that is buying 10 cases and all of a sudden is buying truck and truck loads and spending 15 million within a short period of time. Let me take it further. You visit this guy, you've got a meeting with this guy in the afternoon. By tomorrow morning, you go there, you want to see him, they tell you that he flew out last night. And the question would be, this suspicious movement, one moment you're in the country, one moment you're out of the country, and you prefer to use cash, not a bank, and the money that is flowing, it's almost more than 20 million with one supplier. So don't tell me that we are idiots when we say South Africans stand no chance to compete with them. And to a certain extent, I believe their governments are sponsoring them in South Africa. But because we've got idiots that pretend to be our leaders and do not care, they don't care about this. There's money laundering going on in South Africa that is hidden from SARS, that is hidden from authorities. Home official or Home Affairs officials are corrupt. So the question is, do we fold our arms and pretend and turn a blind eye to these illegal activities that are happening in the country? Let me tell you something. I spent time in Zimbabwe many times. I've been to many areas in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe has got zero tolerance to criminality. The only thing, crime that is very prevalent in Zimbabwe is when somebody breaks into your car, maybe steals something. But cars don't get stolen in Zimbabwe. The murder rate is low in Zimbabwe. Why? Is because Mnangagwa, with his henchmen, absolutely take zero tolerance towards criminality. But here is the question. When we want to engage in that process where we take zero tolerance towards criminality, we are being labeled. Folks, some of us, we stay with foreign nationals that are legal. We have supported some of them. Some of them, their loved ones died. We helped them with the funeral costs. It is heartbreaking to be told by somebody who's in Zimbabwe who does not understand what is happening on the ground to say we are xenophobic, whereas on the ground, we are embracing them as our brothers and sisters. But we are saying, as we do this, we've got to be cognizant that there are some of them that are undesirable as far as criminality is concerned. In a town that I'm staying now, there is what we call a romantic scam, where Congolese are targeting South Africans women under disguise of being interested in them romantically, pushing them to open loans in their names, and they disappear. And we've got to get to a point where South African women have got a sense of pride and are conscious they don't fall for anything that comes their way. I don't say don't date foreign nationals, but you need to vet a person, know a person's background, including if he is a South African for that matter, because even South Africans have got, we've got criminals. But I cannot enter Botswana without my passport. I've been to Botswana. I cannot enter Zimbabwe without my passport. I cannot enter DRC without my passport. I cannot enter Ghana without my passport. Why do we want to make it a norm that one can enter South Africa without a passport? Now we are sitting at a point where we've got 28 million South Africans that are getting grants. I beg to differ. Those 28 million South Africans, if you were to go and audit, you'll find that the Lesotho nationals are included. You'll find that the Swazi nationals are involved. You'll find that Zimbabweans nationals are part of that. But the question is, and I hope, well, you're on this space. The question is, every time we open the space to discuss issues, I've never heard any Zimbabwean say, listen, South Africans, we need your help to hold our government accountable. We need you to help us to make noise. We need you to help us to mobilize in our country. If we need to make Zimbabwe to be unstable, we want your assistance. I don't see you guys speaking so much about Zimbabwe, but there is just an obsession of speaking about South Africa. And that's why South Africans are of the view that you guys are cowards. Why are you afraid of Mnangagwa? You were afraid of Mugabe. Now you're afraid of Mnangagwa. We were not afraid of the apartheid government. And today we are not even afraid of the ANC government. I told Trevor Ncube some time back when he was popular with that phrase that it was not an event, it was a process. And he said there is no way South Africa was going to get rid of Jacob Zuma. I told him, I said, you don't know South Africans. We don't tolerate nonsense. Jacob Zuma is going to get out of office and he will not finish his term. And he turned around and said, in a million years, it's not going to happen. It happened. Cyril Ramaphosa, with his behavior now, some of us, we supported him. We're vocal on the space. He has become deaf to the needs of South Africans. If Cyril makes it for the second term, Cyril is not going to finish the second term. That one, you can mark it down. But why do we have the courage? Why do we have the audacity to speak like this about our issues? And when we're not afraid of our leaders. Some of us, we got involved in community activism. Our phones were bugged, but we didn't run away. We were able to change things on the ground. Hopewell, you need to make Zimbabweans to understand. Speaking better English in a foreign country without attending to the issues of their own country, it is backwards. Yes, South Africans can speak broken English, but with their broken English, they are fixing their leaders, they are fixing their government. And this movement, Put South Africa First, is part of it. And I say, we are not xenophobic, and I'm of the view that they are not going to be violent. They just want to hold their government accountable. We cannot have people in the country that are not traceable. Now, we've got women and children that are missing on daily basis. We are retweeting them. And I'm saying, at what point do we step change the game and say, we are sick and tired of retweeting. We need to get into the prevention mode. We are identifying all the elements that make women and children to go missing, because it's a bad reflection on the society if women and children cannot be safe in that society. And if one element that has been identified is that foreign nationals, especially the illegal ones, they need to be identified and they need to be held accountable. I don't think there is any English, there is any profession or title, there is no one that can maybe even speak English words while anglicizing them, intimidate us. It's unstoppable. This balloon is being inflated. Cyril is not away. The balloon is being inflated. The noise is getting more and more louder. He's becoming deaf. The day he comes to us and say he's shocked when there's unrest in South Africa, we're going to be very upset with him. That's why I say he will not finish the second term. We're actually sick and tired of ANC people, because right now we don't have the railway network. The apartheid government had a railway network. ANC allowed it to be destroyed. And guess who destroyed it? Illegal immigrants. And Hopewell, you guys are a very religious country as Zimbabweans. There's no way even in the Bible where we can accommodate illegality. Even the Bible says when you go to a foreign land, you need to make sure that you are civil, you abide by the laws of the land, and you become exempt in terms of the country where you come from. And instead of you being angry with us and say, hang on, there are some Zimbabweans that are misrepresenting us, you guys, you want to defend criminality, you want to defend illegal activities. And I say, it is unacceptable. And if you want us to help you with Mnangagwa, we will do so. But let me stop here. South Africans, don't be apologetic, don't be violent. You've got convictions. Don't be apologetic about your convictions. Make sure that you restructure the country in the manner that you see fit, and don't be apologetic. Slay Queens should not make you feel ashamed in advocating your stance. Drug laws on social media should not make you feel apologetic. Politicians who are corrupt, who have taken money from corrupt West African drug laws, must not make you feel apologetic. This is your country. You fought against the white man. You won. Now you are fighting against the corrupt ANC government. You are going to win. Forward we go, backwards never. But as we do that, no violence, no loss of life, no shedding of blood, but accountability must be there for the South African government, for foreign nationals in the country, and as well as for their governments. And I so move. Thank you.
No, thank you, Boiti, for that. And I tried to say this yesterday. We are not advocating for violence, but I mean, people just want to be miscreants and be agents of provocateur. It's another problem that we have. And indeed, our issues are not just on Zimbabweans. We have other foreign nationals. Even today, if you were checking, Mario was tweeting about the Chinese that are in South Africa. But what is happening now is that because of we are speaking of foreigners, and the majority of foreigners that are in South Africa are Zimbabweans, that's the reason why they feel like whatever that we are doing, the discourse of this thing, it's mainly for them, and they just want us to actually even keep quiet and just continue like in nothing is happening. So they just want to take the front stage to actually even stop us from doing what we want to do. But thank you for clarifying that. I see Bongs is actually here. Bongs, let me give you the stage, and then after you, it will be a safe essay.
Good evening, fellow patriots. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Ms. Kwena. Thank you, Mr. Mangalani, and all of you. Yes, indeed, we are not advocating for violence, and it's a peaceful march, peaceful protest. And the thing is, who are saying that we are almost instigating violence is these people who want to distract the movement. Especially yesterday in the space, I'm gonna single out the Zimbabweans who were saying that we are instigating violence. It's almost like they are coming with a reverse psychology, in terms of trying to distract us from the point of this movement. I heard some of them saying that we should even change the narrative of this movement to say not illegal immigration. Let's change and say corruption. What kind of nonsense is that? They are coming to tell us what to do in our country, telling us terms and conditions. It's unacceptable, really. I cannot reason with immigrants anymore. I'm sorry, but I cannot reason with them anymore. We've tried to give them a chance to speak so that we can hear where they are, where their mindset is at. But these people are not, they're not, if I can put it, ka Sotho. A ba ikemisetsa ho lwela country ya bona. So for that reason, it's almost like our cries are falling to deaf ears. I'm sorry, but guys, we must be aware, of this nonsense that we are being told to say you are instigating violence, stop it with the march, or change the narrative of the march. There's nothing we are changing here. We are going forward with this march. We are going to what do you call, Church Square and union buildings in peace. Our march is registered, it's legal, so law enforcement will be there as well. And I hope, they will be there to eradicate any form of distraction that may be posed against this march, because I can guarantee you guys that there are people who are very much, trying to, put us off, and they'll go, through all means. So we must stick together as South Africans to say this movement, we've come, a long way, and we are not gonna deviate from the whole point of this movement, guys, because we have prominent figures who are backing us on this matter. I was listening to Gayton McKenzie earlier on today on Newsroom Africa to say that, you know what, the people who are going to protest and march, I don't blame them. They are hurtful, they are tired. We are representing these people to say illegal immigrants must leave with immediate effect. It's non-negotiable. And then I hear Julius Malema coming to say that he can even go to an extent to resign by sticking to the principle of him, saying that we are one borderless Africa. It's absolute nonsense, guys. But I'm proud of everyone, and we are going a long way. These guys are shook. Some of them are even making preparations to say, you know what, we are no longer welcome. So therefore, we are leaving. I see Mr. Mangalani, you are raising up your hand.
Yes, Bongs. I just want to indicate that I'm getting a lot of DMs. People are saying they are having issues with connection. Some are having issues with audio.
Mm-mm.
I really don't know what's going on. And apparently, I believe you were also struggling at some stage.
Yes. Was I not audible?
No, I'm saying struggling to connect.
Oh, connect. Yeah, I was struggling to connect, but eventually I made it through.
It's not just that. Apparently, even when we are talking, the audio is not clear on other people. So that's what I
Oh,
also got. But unfortunately, there's nothing we can do to change that. I'm sure you guys, you're already aware of the situation that we always find ourselves in. I guess it happens every time when we have our own spaces. So yeah, that's it.
okay. So as I was saying, we tried to engage with our Hopewell yesterday in the space. We really tried, but you can see that these people they're not intending to change the situation back home. And the earlier on, I heard the speaker saying we must help them. Why must we continue spoon feeding people? No, no one helped us during apartheid. Our parents fought. Our grandmothers, grandfathers, they fought. No one was put feeding them. No one was giving them guns or mobilizing them. They mobilized themselves. Why can't they take inspiration from that? Are we helping the Swaziland faithfuls for mobilizing in their country? As you can see, they are fighting for democracy and trying to eradicate this monarchy. The last monarchy in the continent or the world, apparently. But you can see that they're not running away. But for them, it's almost like we have to nurse them always. Open your mouth, close your mouth, chew, eat. It's nonsense, guys. So we must not feel apologetic that we are not helping them in terms of trying to disrupt the government in Zimbabwe. They should go in numbers and disrupt the government there and make the place ungovernable. They are here in millions. Are you telling me that they're not going to make a difference back home? Really? They should be doing what we are doing now instead of them questioning our march. They should pack their bags and go march. What's so hard? We are also risking our lives when we are going to this march. They are telling us that police are using live ammunition. Hey, look, live ammunition was used against our grandmothers and grandfathers, but it did not deter them from taking to the streets. So no excuses, guys. No excuses. So that's why I'm gonna disagree with the previous speaker to say let's help them. No, we aren't getting down. We have to focus on our own issues. We have burning issues in South Africa that we need to solve. And this is what we are doing now. They are in numbers here on Twitter. Are you telling me they can't mobilize themselves to say, you know what, enough is enough? You can see those guys in South Africa are resolute, by mail in the. So let's do the same. Siyayimela thina indaba yethu. We are not backing down from this challenge. Why can't they do the same? We cannot continue making excuses for these guys. We cannot. Time for excuses are over. So we are tackling this issue here, Pambili, guys. I thank you all. Back to you, Gwen.
It's Safe Essay, and then after Safe Essay, it will be Victoria.
Evening, compatriots. I hope I'm audible. Can anyone hear me?
Just ensure your mic is off. We are audible, Patriot.
Okay. First and foremost, I was listening to the space of hope, that was hosted by Hopewell yesterday. Apparently, I left because I couldn't stand for that nonsense. As South Africans, we can't be discussing our own. We can't be justifying our actions against our government to foreigners. This movement is not asking too much. It's not asking for anything new. As put South African first, all we are asking is for our government to implement the already legislated laws. What is so difficult about that? Why should we explain to foreigners why do we want our government to implement our laws? If those laws work, they counter work against them, then those are the laws of the country. We must not. I'm tired of foreigners feeling entitled to viewing for their input in our own current affairs. Hopewell, if he's here, he must just deal with Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF and whatever thing that affects Zimbabweans. We don't want to get involved. They must remember Zimbabwe is a sovereign state. And whatever deal they made with the ANC during the apartheid or whatever, if the Zimbabwe was being used as a transit country, It does not affect us. We were not there. Our parents died. They were fighting apartheid regime on the ground while ANC members were hibernating somewhere else. So we owe them nothing. Secondly, the ANC government, if they can't see this is a ticking bomb, tomorrow they are going to call us xenophobic, because as our constitution states that the people shall govern. If the ANC is failing to implement our own laws, especially the immigration laws, then we as the citizens of this country, we will be forced to implement them. And then tomorrow they will call us xenophobic, because we will go and guard the borders ourselves because our government is failing. We are paying a lot of tax money to be protected. We are paying a lot of tax money for our government to make sure that our borders are safe, to make sure that we are safe in this country. But how can we justify the influx of immigrants in this country? And then even if it was Ubuntu, we have shown Ubuntu for many, many years. What disgusted me yesterday, all of them foreigners, I think when it comes to South African issues, they are so united and then ganging up against us. I have never heard them hosting a space, just like Bong said, hosting space and discussing their own current affairs. They are always interested in our own affairs. We are dealing with our own government. If it affects them, then that's their own problem. If it means we are xenophobic, then yes, we are probably xenophobic. Their government, including ZANU-PF, including Zimbabwe and Botswana, Zambia, Ghana, they are all putting their citizens first. Why are they not condemning their own government? Why should they want our government to cater for them? We've got a high rate of unemployment, guys. And then we can't be justifying to be prioritized in our own country. If the SADC region, the SADC countries are prioritizing their citizens, where do you think South Africa will be employed if we are catering foreigners in our country? They should go back and be prioritized in their own country. We owe them nothing. We owe them nothing. Clayton Mnyala was listening. I'm glad he didn't comment much. But as DICO, they must understand we are dealing with our government. And then that's why we are marching to the union building. We are not marching to any embassy. We don't want to discuss our current affairs with foreigners. We are not interested on how they feel, how they are impacted. Whatever Thabo Mbeki did during the Mugabe era, when he was sent by SADC, that's their own problem. If they failed to discipline their own government, then they must not include us. We are disciplining our own government. We are disciplining the government that we voted for, that we are paying tax money to. We can't be having, if we check right now, our correctional service, they are overpopulated with foreigners. And then if we check the budget that is being allocated to the correctional service, it's too much. The healthcare is deteriorating. The education system is deteriorating because it's overpopulated. It can accommodate more foreigners. Even our prisons, they can't accommodate more foreigners. That's why we want a blanket deportation of all foreigners, legal or illegal. They must go. And then they must reapply. They must reapply if they've got skill, and they must come as per our immigration laws, not because they jumped the border. We are willing to fund.
So if I say, are you still there? You seem to actually being cut off.
I'm breaking up.
Yes, you are. You keep on breaking up and going mute. Victoria, just take on the floor for us. Safe SA is having connection problems. It's connecting again now.
Good evening, everyone. Hello, Patriots. And I just wanted to say it's unfortunate that Safe SA was cut off. I was enjoying what she was saying there. I fully agree with what she's saying and also what Bong said. Now, just before I tap into the Zimbabwe issue, I just wanted to also say that I wanted to be I wanted to explain our position first, as put South Africans first, so that we get to understand that the movement is not only the focus is not only about immigration, but also going forward, there's more to discuss. We've got so many issues in the country, challenges that we need to address as South Africans, identify our problems and bring in solutions. So with Put South Africans First movement, the intention is to hold government accountable, and we are calling on government together with its relevant departments to control immigration, enforce immigration laws, and also create favorable conditions, economic conditions for South Africans and businesses. So we also have got a high unemployment rate in the country, and I strongly also believe that it will have to, I've got just a minute. So, sorry guys. So with the unemployment issue, I think we need to address this as soon as we can as well. I think that in order for us to defeat unemployment, we will have to prioritize entrepreneurs and SMEs. Government has to create a favorable economic condition, a favorable environment, or a friendly environment rather, for SMEs and entrepreneurs, so that they will be able to get funding, and also will manage, as a result, they will manage to create more employment opportunities for South Africans. So when it comes to back to the immigration issue, the demand here is that we demand that the government must reserve, or rather, jobs must be reserved for South Africans, unless all jobs, in fact, must be reserved for South Africans. I got disturbed, sorry. Jobs must be reserved for South Africans unless rare skills is required. And we also demand the sponsorships. We're saying that sponsorships must be in the hands of South Africans. I'm saying this because I want us to be clear on this issue as well. We demand sponsorships to be in the hands of South Africans. Stores in the inner city also must be in the hands of South Africans, and countrywide, especially stores that are, or businesses that are below that fall below the investment margin. They must be in the hands of South Africans, such as your saloons, your internet cafe, and yes, such businesses must be South African owned. And also the issue of hijacked building. We want the government to confiscate hijacked buildings. And also we need an amendment of laws and policies that will stipulate clearly as to which foreign nationals must come to our country, why, and when should they come to South Africa. As Put South Africans First, we are advocating for South Africans of all races, and graduates, the marginalized, and also we need to ensure that they are prioritized, and that favorable economic healthy economic conditions are created for them. So now, we are not also just saying this for fun. We are saying this from the premise of law. All right. If you get to look at the Immigration Act, Section 32 allows us to deport foreign illegal immigrants, sorry. So we should not even be discussing this with government, because these are laws in place that we are expecting government to be aware of. We must deport illegal immigrants. And also Section 8 of the Employment Services Act says that we must give jobs to South Africans. So now, and also when it comes to issuing work visas to foreigners, we are advised that we can only issue a work visa to a foreigner once it has been proved beyond reasonable doubt that a South African with relevant qualifications, skills, and experience is not available for appointment. So all this thing, this laws in place, all we need is implementation from the government, and they are failing to do that. And it's unfortunate that we've got institutions such as the Constitutional Court, where we are hoping that if the government violates Immigration Act, they are in a position to hold them accountable, and also they must ensure that they face prosecution. Again, when you look into the international laws, they're also on our side when it comes to immigration. It is very clear with international law that foreigners are not allowed to migrate to other countries due to economic conditions or challenges in their countries. It's not allowed. They also saying that only those who are from countries that are in a state of civil war or war may then migrate to the nearest country. So when you look at the issue of Zimbabweans, and just before I touch on that also, and if you get to look around, especially in SADC region, this is a peaceful region. We don't have, it's been over 20 years. There's not been war in SADC region. So which will tell you that we are not in a position to house or shelter any migrants from neighboring countries. So the question is, why are they here? Why are illegal immigrants in South Africa? We are housing over 15 million immigrants, according to the World Bank. So why are they here if both the international law and immigration law does not allow illegal immigration if there's no war in your country? Now, we are now housing over 5 million Zimbabweans. We are housing millions of Nigerians, Somalians, Ethiopians. They're taking over business space meant for South Africans and jobs, level entry jobs. They are occupying each and every sector, which is unfair. It's an unfair practice because we don't have South Africans moving to their countries to compete with locals. So why is it allowed in South Africa? Do we even have a government? It's almost 2 years where we're making noise. We've marched several times, we submitted memorandums, but the government is turning a blind eye. So what must happen? Why are you in government if the people that have elected you to lead them, in fact, they are failing us? That's what they are doing. Under which constitutional guidelines are we allowed to house millions of economic migrants that are disguising as asylum seekers and refugees? They are not refugees, these people. They are not. But all of them, almost the whole continent, and I'm not saying we don't have migrants from other parts of the world, but we've got a serious problem, especially with African migrants, because most of them are here. If we get to look at it, Zimbabwe alone we have got over 5 million Zimbabweans in the country. How is that even normal? That is an invasion. They are here making demands, taking us to court, using our courts. They are not even ashamed. They are not worried. They are not ashamed. In fact, unfortunately, Daddy Hope, the one who was hosting the space yesterday, blocked me. I couldn't join in. But according to what I've observed on the TL, most patriots were complaining that Zimbabweans were ganging up on them. How is it that they have got Zimbabweans in UK, in US, they are helping Zimbabweans in Africa to fight us? Daddy Hope, what he's doing is making sure that his countrymen are getting jobs and everything else that they need in our country. But those people cannot do the same in their country. Not so long ago, Zimbabwe said they are reserving business space and certain business space and jobs for Zimbabweans. They also said foreigners in Zimbabwe must pay for Vixen. They also said that trucks coming from South Africa using your Bait Bridge border, will be requested to pay 200 US dollars, which is around 3,000 per truck. There was no uproar from South Africans. We are not questioning their decision. In fact, we're respecting what Zimbabwe is doing. They don't want to be disrespected. They don't want us to disrespect their laws and the way they do things. However, in South Africa, we've got a government that will do anything to protect foreign nationals, even if what they are doing is unacceptable. We've got most foreign nationals in the country are misbehaving. They are misbehaving, these people. Imagine in Gauteng province, 60% of crime is committed by foreign nationals, according to SA stats. And the first nation on the list is Zimbabweans, followed by Mozambicans, and also the third spot is Nigerians. Which South Africans are migrating to any country in the world in millions to go there to disrespect their laws, take over jobs, make demands without fear, disrespect the host? What is that? Why are we allowing these people to undermine us? Why are we allowing foreign nationals to do as they please in our country as South Africans? It cannot be. It cannot be. Now, we've got my other problem or concern with Zimbabwe is how the way they or rather their way of trade. Let me put it that way. For example, we've got SA companies. A number of SA companies are in Zimbabwe. We have brought infrastructure to Zimbabwe. As Zimbabweans are employed in those companies. We are adding value to Zimbabwe. We are supplying electricity to Zimbabwe, and many other things that we do for Zimbabwe. But in return, what do we get as a country? Over 5 million of mostly illegal immigrants from Zimbabwe. They come to South Africa to inconvenience South Africans, exhaust our resources. What type of trade is that? Because in my knowledge, trade has to be fair and beneficial. What is it that we are benefiting from Zimbabwe? We've allowed this, unfortunately, as South Africans to get to this point, but it's never late to correct our mistakes. However, the government must understand that in this case, it does not matter if they will listen or not, if they are going to renew the ZEPs without our permission or not. What they need to understand is the future of South Africa is without the influx of immigrants, whether they like it or not. These people will be deported. They will be deported. We are calling for citizenship audit. It does not matter you came here illegally, because there's a lot of corruption happening in Home Affairs. There's a lot of corruption happening in our borders. So we can't really say these people are here illegally. I mean, not so long ago, there was a Zimbabwean who used to be a manager of human settlement, if not mistaken. He was working for a government department without documents. He had to be deported, but South African government managed to employ an illegal immigrant. So can we really trust these people with our lives? We've got a weak and caring government. It's not a secret, and we are not going to shy away from saying that. We've got a situation, a problem with leadership in this country. We are a leaderless state. And we are not going, I'm not even going to be politically correct when I address this issue. Because now when you look at the manner which the ruling party is governing this country, they are governing this country from the premise of Ubuntu, your friendships and historical relations. No regard for the law whatsoever. It does not matter if laws they are implemented or not. It has to be about what will my friend think in Zimbabwe if I do 1, 2, 3. So are we going to move forward or move SA forward with this type of thinking in leadership positions? It cannot be. We need to fix this as South Africans. And we must not allow foreign nationals to bully us in this country. Nobody's going to bully us in our country, and they are going to go, whether they, the ruling party prioritize or speak for them, because apparently South African leaders, they don't mind speaking for foreign nationals than their own citizens. We've got opposition parties that are openly doing so. They don't care. We've got no one but ourselves to fix this issue. And we're going to send foreign nationals back to their countries, especially illegal immigrants. And I can tell you that South Africa has almost everything. We've got everything we need. Most jobs that are occupied by foreign nationals, South Africans can do. And I can say that without fear. South Africans can do these jobs. And we must not allow anyone to tell us how lazy and stupid South Africans are. Hardworking, educated people must go back to their countries.
Mrs. Mabahubo.
Hello.
Mrs. Victoria, can I please get in?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Can you please wrap up, because we have a Zimbabwean national on the line who wants to speak to his fellow Zimbabweans in this space, who wants to make a plea. So I'd like us to give him a chance so that we can hear what he wants to say.
All right, noted. I'm just going to quickly say this, but I also wanted to say that another thing that I wanted us to do is that as soon as we manage to deport, do citizenship audit and deport foreign nationals in this country, another thing is that the idea is to create space for young South Africans, especially your students. It can be in high school and those in tertiary level. We need to make space, especially in retail. Make sure that they get jobs. We've got a high teenage pregnancy rate in this country. And when you look at it, and with my observation and research, we are aware that most girls are led by older men because they are being promised money, which is unfair. So let's try and teach young South Africans that they need to work for money. We're not going to interfere with studies. I believe 2 hours a day or over the weekend can really work for us. And again, I was hoping that in the next space that we are to host, let's also address the issue of unemployment as to what ideas we've got, or bring ideas on the table to discuss that, the issue of GBV and everything else. So that's all I wanted to say for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Mamahubo, for your input. I'd like to reel in Castro. Castro, the mic is yours. You've been crying for the mic. We are giving you this platform.
Thank you, my brother. I would like to thank the South African people and the nation for their hospitality. They have offered to Zimbabweans for a long period of time. And there's no country that can shoulder another country's burden. And they've tried their best. They've given us Zimbabweans work permit, temporary work permits to survive. And now it's high time Zimbabweans themselves go home and deal with their own issues at home. Our people, seems most of our Zimbabwean activists and have been more vocal. They've been more pro wanting foreigners to actually fight a Zimbabwean cause. You know, the first thing that most Zimbabweans are running from is the economic difficulties in Zimbabwe. And the Zimbabweans themselves, they should be the ones to fix their economic difficulties. And the first hindrance to this economic difficulty is the economic sanctions. The name economic sanctions means that there's a chokehold on the economy. And the people are actually running from a bad economy, becoming a burden in South Africa. And so the people of Zimbabwe must go home and fight their economic sanctions, remove the economic sanctions with one voice. There's lots of Zimbabweans who are a burden in South Africa and support the destruction of Zimbabwean economy through sanctions. So we are saying we can no longer stay in South Africa and burden South Africans, taking South African jobs. South Africans belong to South Africa. It is only through their hospitality that we can go there if they wish to give us jobs, or if they have shortage of certain skills, and we should go there legally. Like any other country, go to any country in the world, there's a process that people go through, and you are documented and you are known where you live and you pay your taxes. So it is abnormal that people just flood in a neighboring country and feel entitled to stay there endlessly. And those who have work permits, it is through South Africans' decisions whether they will grant permanent residence, and everything should be done lawfully and through due processes. But the bottom line is Zimbabweans, every Christmas, Zimbabweans go to return to Zimbabwe for Christmas. They don't fear persecution during Christmas holidays. So it's actually clear that the issues in Zimbabwe are economic. So these economic issues must be tackled. The only thing Zimbabweans must ask South African government is to help them fight economic sanctions so that there's enough labor employment creation in Zimbabwe. This issue of other political issues, every country have got political issues. In South Africa, there's political issues there. They have their own difference in politics. So Zimbabwean issue is not politics right now. That is kicking people out of the country and going to be a burden in South Africa. The issue is economy. When you have Zisco Steel, which used to employ 5,000 people under sanctions, and we have people, Zimbabweans who are in South Africa, supporting the closure of Zisco Steel through sanctions, then those people should come home and enjoy the sanctions they are advocating for, because they're asking for destruction of jobs while it's being a burden in South Africa. So if those people support economic destruction of jobs in Zimbabwe, they should come back home and enjoy the destruction they have caused in Zimbabwe. So Zimbabweans, go home and fix your country and let South Africa put South Africa first, meaning they must have first shot in getting jobs. There's no one who wants, even in Zimbabwe, I wouldn't want a situation where a South African comes and take available jobs, whether it's teaching, nursing, engineering, whatever, which is available. So there must be harmony between South Africa and Zimbabwe. Will always be, Zimbabwe is the biggest trading partner of South Africa, and that is natural due to geoposition of Zimbabwe and South Africa. We share a border, we share a long history, and as such, it is that Zimbabweans themselves must now take responsibility for their action. You cannot campaign for destruction of your own economy and then go to the neighbor and say, I'm gonna stay in your home because I've burnt my own house. You burn your own house, you must go back and rebuild your house. So if you support sanctions to destroy your own economy, to close Zisco Steel, to close CSC, to put sanctions on the marketing of minerals in Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe now cannot sell gold outside to international market like London. Now we sell through South Africa's Rand refinery because we destroyed our own home, the ability to trade and function. So the solution, we have the people like Dewama Vunga and Hopewell who actually get paid by the Western countries to actually advocate for support of destruction of Zimbabwean economy. And day in, day out, they've even, we know in South Africa, the number of immigrants from Zimbabwe, it's about Last time when the government offered work permits was around 350,000 people show up. And so the number could be about 1 million Zimbabweans that time in South Africa. And our own people have also kind of contributed to this situation that people are now facing, that we've went into South Africa and misbehaved there. We've made a lot of noise in South Africa on media. You know, we have this journalist of ours, what's his name? It just ran out of my mind, but on SABC, instead of discussing South African issues and, you know, South African issues that South Africans want to hear, is busy turning South African media into a Zimbabwean media. So Zimbabweans, you have your own selves to blame for our South African host to start to say, no, we've had enough of you. You people, you come here, you make noise, you create crime. You are also not contributing enough to the economy. You are not creating jobs. You are so the issue is, bottom line is, we have overstayed our welcome in South Africa. So at the end of the day, let's agree to it that we've overstayed our welcome. Let's go home and fix our economy. And the first thing as Zimbabweans to fix our economy is to speak with one voice and say, these economic sanctions that destroys our job creation abilities, that destroys our ability to trade globally, we must fix that first. The politics comes after we fix our economy. Investors don't care about what form of governance you have in your country. You might have communism, socialism, capitalism. They don't care. They just want a space where they can put their money in and create jobs and build factory and do business. That's why China is thriving. There's communism in China. They have tough laws in China. They have their own ways of interpreting human rights, but their economy is now the biggest economy in the world. So Zimbabwean issue is not a political issue, it's not a human rights issue, it's an economy issue right now we are facing. And we must all fight with one voice to fix our economy. And if we need help from our South African neighbors, is that they put also pressure on Western countries that have put sanctions on us to remove them, to say, look, your sanctions are making Zimbabweans flock over here because your sanctions are creating employment creation ability of Zimbabwe to absorb its own population. You can't have 11 universities in Zimbabwe churning out graduates who then come out and fail to find employment. And the next thing they can do, they are forced to do it by economic factors, is to cross the border into South Africa, which is the bigger economy. And some get lucky and get employment there. Some end up doing manual labor. Some end up on farms. And now you are competing with South Africans there. But if our economy is working, a few people would migrate into South Africa and you wouldn't have an economic effect on, or a negative effect on South Africans' ability to get jobs. So the bottom line is, yes, immigration can be beneficial to both countries, but we have now overburdened our neighbor. You know, immigration is healthy. Every country has got some immigration going between them. But our situation has become unbearable. We are now overwhelming the neighboring country. As such, we've become a burden. So we must now do self-introspection and be honest with ourselves and say, let's now stop the playfulness and the political machinations and the activism some of our brothers and sisters in the NGOs are doing in order for them to put money on the table, food on the table. They've been selling Zimbabwe negatively across the global world. Like if you don't know about Zimbabwe, you think there's a civil war in Zimbabwe. People are being shot on the streets every day, you know. So Zimbabwe, but then you are surprised when you are reaching holidays now, you will see the border will be all congested with people returning to Zimbabwe, feeling very safe to go there, you know. So the issue is...
And Castro, I want to ask, Why do people feel safe only in December or in Easter? That's when they go home. And they come here, they are asylum seekers, they are refugees, but they go home for Christmas and holidays. What's the matter? How can we address that situation?
So the matter is, the reality of the day is people, they are running from economic issues. So that's why I say, South Africans, follow your immigration laws. If it means you tighten your laws, then put yourselves interest first. There's no country that must put itself at a disadvantage so that the neighbor can feel comfortable in their own country. So the bottom line, the only help that I myself would be asking of South Africa is to help us be able to remove these economic sanctions that are trifling our ability to create our own jobs, so that we keep our people at home, so that our people don't have to jump the rivers coming there, because that's the only reason why our people are coming there. And when they get some money in South Africa, then December they want to come to Zimbabwe to spend that money with their family and relatives. Easter time, they do the same. So it's evidently that there's no crisis in Zimbabwe except the economic crisis. And that's why we see this periodic movement of people in April, in December, in any holiday that comes up. So some people might be like, this guy is trying to create an issue in South Africa. No, but at least we must be honest with each other and say, hello? So the issue is we need to put our own house in order. So Zimbabweans, put your own house in order. Don't blame South Africans.
Okay, Mr. Mangalani, you want to? Thank you, Mr. Castro. I salute you, sir. You have all my respect. You have won my respect today. And to the people who are criticizing us, we are not going anywhere. And we are lucky to have people like Castro who are honest and willing, to reflect and to address such uncomfortable truths. As for you who are, delusional don't want to face reality, it's over. And I want to single out a Flora Ruramai. You are busy slating your fellow countrymen for being honest. Who do you think you are? Thank you. Mr. Mangalani?
Yes, we
so thank you, gentlemen. I'm just gonna close it off by saying, thank you very much, South Africa. You've been with us for a long time. Since mostly from 2008, that's when our economy went so bad, and that's when there was this sharp spike of people coming over. And you have shouldered the burden for more than 12 years now to 13 years. And yes, there's been difficulties along the way. And I think the situation has reached a position where us as Zimbabweans, we have to actually self-introspect and move back home. It's difficult. Some might have settled in South Africa or get comfortable there, but we should always remember you cannot be comfortable in a neighbor's house. So it's high time we make hard decisions and leave our comfort zones and go home and fix our own economy. And to the South Africans, I would like to ask for, if possible, if the immigration deportations or any process that is put in place to repatriate people or to encourage people to move back, at least there should be a grace period so that people can be easily able to move back with their properties and whatever they've worked for. And that will be the human way of handling the situation, so that there's that free movement of people returning to their home country. So that they can go facilitate whatever form of solution they think. If they think it's a political solution, Let them Zimbabweans fix their political solution issue at home. If it's an economic issue, they should go back home and fix that economic issue at home. So whatever issues they are running from, they themselves should go and fix them at home. The only thing South Africans must give us is a period which they say from this month to this month, you guys, you have to start packing your bags and go.
And it's coming. I can guarantee you, it's coming. It's soon. Hence why we're having this march. It's coming.
So my plea to you is, please don't. I hope our brothers, your anger. We know you are angry, and please just be a little patient with us. And when you make your decisions,
just be willing to welcome them back home, so that you can sit down and resolve the matters going forward. We are moving forward now. So your plea, Castro, is you're saying they must come back, and then you are going to welcome them and solve the problems on the table.
Yeah, they should come home and contribute there in solving the problems, because solving problems on SABC does not work. We have seen them running on SABC and profiling solutions. They should be profiling solutions on ZBC TV. They should be profiling solutions on the ground. So they should come home and live with the consequences of our actions.
Today, there was Dr. Vusi Sivanda, who was telling us that even illegal immigrants, they have a right to be here because of the economic crisis of Zimbabwe. So we see even prominent figures of the Zimbabwean society are making such excuses. It's horrendous, honestly. Horrendous.
The reality is there's no country that will allow an illegal person to settle in a country and be able to live there. So the reality of the day, the laws of South Africa must be followed. The laws of Zimbabwe must be followed. And as Zimbabweans, we must put our house in order. And if we don't do that, then, South Africans, their patience is being worn out. And whatever will happen will be our own selves to blame. Because if you go into a neighbor's house and you start to refuse to come out of the house, you sleep first night, you sleep second night. After a week, the neighbor say, now, when are you going home? They will ask, even your relative will ask you, when are you returning home? And then you say, no, I've been here so long, so I must stay. No, guys, let's be serious.
Yeah.
So if you don't have papers.
Yes, as I was saying, Mr. Castro, I've received messages on the private to say that there are people here who are, recording this this conversation to say that, we are recording you, we are listening, go on. These people are threatening us. So I don't know. We have nothing to hide. We have nothing to worry about. So you can continue to record us. It's fine. Mr. Mangalani?
We have a lot of people who are struggling to hear. If you don't mind, if we can just collapse the space now and restart and ask people to rejoin. A lot of speakers, they are also waiting, but we can't see them. It looks like we are being throttled at 1.1. So we'll just collapse the space and restart again. It will just be SA immigration and see if the throttling will continue. It could be that it's flagged by my account, because I see we can only reach 1001 and then people start queuing. Let me do that. Let's do that right now.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Castro.
Thank you.
And we join us on our new space.
Okay, thank you.
Now they are collapsing this one.